Shalom Israel. This is Yuda Yasharel, and we are live. I'm doing a live session now because after that last video, I feel like there's a need for questions and answers. So nobody's here yet, and I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait because I want y'all to ask me questions, even if it goes back to the desert. Ask me questions, which nobody has ever done. Everybody took Deshaun Whitehead's word for what happened out there in the desert. Nobody noticed that he put out videos bashing and scrutinizing and slandering me and my wife's name for months. Nobody paid attention. For 3 months straight, he did this, and not one time did I retaliate. But when I did, I started getting feedback. Not one time did anybody ever come and ask, what really happened? Do you have proof? Can you show us? Not one person. So I'm going to sit here. I know it's early over in the States. I'm in Africa. So I'm not going to rush this. So I'm going to wait until you've been notified that there is a live session. I want y'all to ask me some questions. Give me the opportunity, which I never had before. I've been accused of receiving $10,000 from Rap the News or Rap the News and his followers. That's bullcrap. I think I made 2 or 3 videos in the past months ago, maybe somewhere close to 7 or 8 months ago, where I told the people, if you want to see the PayPal donations, you can't erase those. I have every donation. They all came through my PayPal. I have the donation that came through my Cash App. I think Cash App. Everything is documented. So we can pull up the total amount. Now, I was accused by Sego Aya that I received $10,000. So what I want to happen today is I want y'all to ask me what happened in the desert. What was Deshaun Whitehead talking about? What he said he went through hell. I want y'all to ask me. See, y'all never done that. Y'all heard him, but you didn't ask me. Everybody just went directly to pointing a finger at me because of what that liar said. I'm going to tell you something about Deshaun Whitehead. When I first met him, he came to El Paso. I knew within 1 hour of talking to him, tell us, oh, hallelujah. Somebody wants to know. Okay. Somebody wants to know. Do you have the patience to wait? Because I'm going to start at the beginning. Dre, Tosh, Music. Do you have? I respect your work. It is refining to see. Okay. Thank you, sir. So let me go. I have somebody here that has finally asked me, what happened? Let's start at the beginning. The way I met Deshaun Whitehead was in that debate with Rap the News over tithing. Rap the News came out with a video where he was telling the people that tithing was 10% of their income. Hey, scripture says it's about food. Now, up until that point, I have been following Rap the News for about 6 years. Now, I saw some problems, but hey, this is my brother, and he's not perfect. This is the way I looked at it. So I overlooked those things, and I said, you know what, I'm going to keep following this guy because he's on point about a lot of things. But when he came up with tithing is 10% of your income, I know that it is blasphemy for us to go against the Most High and His commandments. When he did that, I said, okay. And this, if you guys are familiar with the video, you will recall he said that, well, he used the title, "This is where I draw the line." And that was true. That's where I drew the line. That's when I saw him for who and what he was. Now, up until that point, I had been sending Rap the News thousands of dollars. And I'm just one. Rap the News had, at that time, over 25,000 followers. If each one of those followers only sent $1, that's $25,000 at least a month. So I figured something must have happened where he overspent and now he needs more money. Why else would you do that? Why else would you come on and we're doing good, Beckins. Thank you so much, and get you some rest. Get you some rest. This thing will be here. You can go back and look at it later. But all praises to the Most High. Thank you, brother. Blessings. But the question came to my mind, why would you do that? All right. I remember videos where Rap the News did where he said the Most High didn't want him to work. Okay, I bought that. Because I've been through something similar. I'm a very highly skilled automotive technician, very good at what I do. I was rated number 3 in the state of Texas in automotive collision. So yes, I'm certified and I'm highly skilled. So I can relate to what he was saying. But when he kept going on, he said that he would go to these jobs and he would get these jobs and he'd get fired and all these things happen. I'm still relating to this because it happened to me too. But see, the difference between what he was doing and what I was doing, I didn't realize there was like a world apart. See, in my profession, when I started, I'm 67. This coming May, I'll be 68. My profession was fixing wrecked cars and painting them to make them look like nothing ever happened. And I was damn good at it. But the problem was not my skill. The problem was that when I went into this, there was no black painters. They were unheard of. This was a white man's job. So when I went into interviews for a job as a painter or a body man, they had a series of questions for me because, and you can't blame them, they'd never seen a black painting body man. And the few that they did see were like crap. And I witnessed that. I saw that. So they weren't making that up. I saw it with my own eyes. The first 15 years of my profession, every black painter, with the exception of maybe 2 that I know of, body men, were crap. Man, the paint looked like it sucked. So I could understand. Okay, now I understand why y'all feel this way. But I'm not those people. So that meant I had to work harder to sell myself and my skill. So I had 2 sales to make. I had to sell my skills, and then I had to sell myself. If you're a salesman, you know what I'm talking about. So I had to sell both skills and personality. And I did pretty good. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I did okay. I worked for some of the most high profile body shops in the state of Texas. Now, the problem that came in, as far as I'm concerned, is that when I went into this field, there were no black painters, there were no black body men. This was all white man's world. And I'm just putting it the way it is. For the first 20 years that I was in this business, I never saw one black painter. So everywhere I worked, I was the only black. Can you imagine what that feels like? I was the only black painter. It was hell for me. I remember going to work for Concours in Dallas. Concours is an elaborate body shop. They have their own magazine. They have cars flown in from all over the world. I worked in a lot of those cars. Those cars would come in crates. Some of them would be completely disassembled. Some of them would be the whole car, and we had to disassemble them and then repair them, paint them, and put them back together, and then ship them out. A lot of those cars that we did went into exclusive magazines, D's magazines. If you don't know what D's magazine is, go to Google, look up D's. I'm talking about the alphabet ABC D's magazine. That was my shop. That was where I worked. So a lot of the work that we did went into the magazines. Yeah, you got to be damn good to even fit in a place like that. So I'm going to take you through the process of my hiring at this company, and then I'm going to go into the details of this video. When I went to this job to get hired, I remember walking in and I talked to Keith Bell. Keith Bell was the owner at the time. His son owns it now. When I went to work there, his son was like 7. But his son still remembers me today. I talked to him a few years ago. He still remembers me. I was the first black painter, the only black painter, and to this day, as far as I was told by Keith's son, there has not been another. But yet they still remember me. So when I went in to get this job, one of his major painters had screwed up a Mercedes. Yeah, we did exquisite cars. All Concours Body Shop did was Lamborghinis, Maseratis, Ferraris, Porsche. They didn't touch American-made cars. They were that exquisite. And I fit right in because I was better than the major painters that he had. So anyway, the way I didn't write out an application. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the desert, Arizona desert. But I got to tell you this. I didn't write or fill out an application like we normally do when you go apply for a job. You know what they told me to do? Their painter had screwed up a brand new Mercedes that had been vandalized. They had to repaint the whole car. The painter that he had screwed the paint job up. So he told me, screw the application. If you're as good as you say you are, I have a Mercedes in the paint booth right now that has been messed up, but it's prepped for paint right now. You go in, paint that car, And if I like it, I will hire you. Okay, right up my alley. So I went to my car, I got my paint guns, and I came in and I went and painted that car. And when I finished, I came out and I told him, sir, your car is ready. So they were expecting to have all kinds of laughs. I was going to be the butt of their jokes. So they was expecting to be able to laugh at this nigger. They went into that paint booth and I could see the look on his face. It was like, damn, nobody had ever put out a job that looked like that without buffing, sanding, and all the other prep to make it presentable to the customer. It didn't need none of that. So let me explain real quick what I mean by that. On an average, when you paint a car, in most cases, you have to color sand it. That means take fine grit paper and water, and you sand the finish down till it's slick and smooth. It's dull. Then you take compound and a buffer, and you bring the shine back. That's to get rid of the trash and debris that got into the paint. But guess what? I didn't have any trash in my paint. I had a spectacular, completely finished job. You know what he told me? This was the owner. That's a damn good job for a white boy. Y'all look at me. Do I look white? But that's what they said. But I got the job. Now, there's a lot of more stuff that goes with this, but I'm not going to go there. I want to answer the question that Dre Tosh Music, he says, he says that, yes, man, tell us what happened. Okay, so let me tell you what happened. When I met Deshaun Whitehead, I was in El Paso. He came from Michigan, and he wanted to visit. Now, the reason that we even set this whole thing up is because when I first debated Rap the News on tithing, Deshaun Whitehead was pissed at me. So he came at me and he attacked me, and I brought him scripture. And when I brought him scripture, he realized, wow, he's right. I didn't know that. So he changed his whole demeanor. So then he sent a message to me and asked me if I would give him my number so we could talk. So I said, yeah, I'll give you my number. So I sent him my number, and sure enough, he called, and we talked. And we talked about this situation with me and Rap the News on the tithing issue. And we went over scripture, and after we were done talking, he had every scripture that he needed to prove beyond any doubt that tithing is not about your money. It never has been, and it's still not to this day. So now he's convinced, and he respected the fact that I didn't go bazookas, crazy, belligerent with Rap the News. I kept my composure. And I tried to explain to Rap the News, look, and I told Rap the News, look, man, I'm not doing this to make a fight. I'm not trying to argue with you, but we're supposed to teach the people the truth. And right now, what you're doing is not the truth. And I have to draw the line here. And that was the title of his video. This is where I draw the line. I don't know how many of y'all remember that. But I pleaded with him. I don't want to fight you. I've been following you. I've been donating my money to you. I've been following you for 6 years. I don't know how many thousands I've sent, but it was well over 20. It was well over 20 grand that I sent to Rap the News. And I'm just one person. Rap the News had 25,000 followers at that time. Now, like I said, if you just got $1 from each one of those 25,000 followers, how much money do you think that is? And the fact that he came on and asked the people, whoever you are learning from, and this is what he said, whoever you're learning from, you should contribute. You should donate, to those people that you follow. That's what he said. And I agree. I agree. Now, on my channel, I never ask for donations. I never ask for donations. And the last time I did was with Raptor News, and that was a severe mistake. So I don't do it no more. If a person wants to donate to this channel, it's on you. I have a Cash App, but I never put it on my lessons. I never put it on my lessons. But at the same time, I don't want to hinder you from your blessings. So if you want to give based on your spiritual endeavors, I don't want to hinder that. I don't want to hinder that. And yes, it does cost me. It costs me money to do what I do. And the fact that I don't ask you to reimburse me, well, that should tell you something. But he was asking, and he was manipulating people, trying to convince them that you should do this. No, you don't have to do that. If you are able, that's good. If you're not able, don't worry about it. But you should never make the people feel guilty, because some of these people can, some of them can't. And you don't know which is which. So when you put a message out like that, you put a force field on those people saying you should. And so what happens to the people that don't have the money? They feel bad. You make them feel guilty. I don't see nothing right about that. So Deshaun Whitehead agreed. So after about 2 or 3 weeks of talking on the phone, and he called a lot. I know things about Deshaun that I have never revealed. Now, when he was slinging my name all over YouTube, calling me Pimp Daddy and calling my wife the bitch from the synagogue of Satan, and all of these slanderous names, for 3 months, y'all go back and look at the videos. For 3 months, I didn't retaliate. During that time, what Deshaun didn't tell y'all is he was still coming out to my land, getting help. And I was still helping him. And the third time that he came, I told him, Deshaun, why don't you stop these videos, man? I said, you see I'm not retaliating. I mean, come on. You know what he said? Elder, I'm not doing those videos at you. I'm not slandering you. Yeah, that's what he said. And I said, okay, don't you think we can cut these vulgar and degenerative videos out? I said, you see I'm willing to help you. I'm doing everything I can to help you. Even though you left, I'm still helping you. I'm still helping you. And he denied that he was doing these videos. I guess he didn't know that I was looking at him. So he left that day. And that evening, he put out a video slandering my name and my wife. And I thought, oh, shit. So I let that go. And I still didn't retaliate. So a few weeks later, he did another video, said he had a dream. And he said, in that dream, he was convicted. So the title of that video, and y'all go look it up, was Our Feelings Are Not Truth. That was the video that he did. And I watched that video. In that video, he said he made apologies to, what is this guy's name? Baby, what is this African guy's name? Oh, Lucky Ben Hebrew. He apologized to Lucky Ben Hebrew first, and somebody else second, and then he apologized to me. So I thought, okay, I cannot not react. This man is manning up. So I got to meet him halfway. So I went on the chat and on the comment section, and I sent him a message. I said, hey man, why don't we just squash this and let's go back to being brothers and just put this behind us. And he says, okay. And I told him I loved it. And I said, you know what? I forgive you for every video that you did that smashed my name. And he says, I forgive you too. And I thought, wow, that's a good thing. You know what? The very next day, Rap the News did a video on me, and Deshaun countered with another video supporting Rap the News video. Remember, the day before, we're supposed to have squashed this. If y'all go to that video and look in the comment sections, you will see my message and his. So you know I'm not lying. All right. Well, he told the people he went through hell. And I remember him saying this directly. I went through hell out there. Let me tell y'all something. When Deshaun met us in California, my wife and myself, we gave him our bed. Yeah. We made other reservations. We gave him our bedroom. We bought all the food, everybody that was there. We fed everybody. We provided every need. So what hell did you go through? 3 days after he was there, he said to me, Elder, your wife has a problem with me. And I said, well, what do you mean she has a problem with you? Well, I trust my instincts. This is what he said. I trust my instincts. And she has a problem with me. I said, Deshaun, if my wife had a problem with you, I would have been the first one to hear about it. No, Elder, I trust my instincts. That's what he said. So I said, okay. This went on for two days. So finally I said, you know what? Let me just call her out here. So I called my wife out and I said, Marina, Deshaun, now both of them are standing face to face. I said, Deshaun says you have a problem with him. And I'm wondering if that's true, why haven't you told me about it? She said, I don't have a problem with Deshaun. I adore him. And I'm looking at Deshaun like, okay, so what is this problem? And he couldn't give a response. You know what he did? He walked away. He just walked away. He didn't even bother to tell me or her what this problem was. He walked away. So we looked at each other and said, okay, let it go. So now the next day, we're loading up the U-Haul trucks, which me and my wife, paid for everything, even the gas that went into his car, the gas that went into the U-Haul trucks, we had two, the trailer, and all of this. Me and my wife paid for everything. Deshaun Whitehead didn't pay for anything. So while we were on the road, heading from California to Arizona, we made 3 stops, mostly to fill up the vehicles, which I did. I filled up. Deshaun filled up the truck once, and I told him, look, this is on me. No, I'll take care of this. So the first time he filled up. The second 2 times, I said, look, these trucks I rented, I'm paying for the gas. So I paid for everything except that first time. So up to this point, what hell did he go through? Because he said in his video, he went through hell out there on that land, and we're going to get to that too. So 3 times on the way from California to Arizona, we had to stop. The reason we had to stop, we all had walkie-talkies. Now, these walkie-talkies, they weren't the most expensive walkie-talkies. So you had to keep a certain amount of distance between each vehicle in order for everybody to be able to communicate. All right. So if you got too far back, that meant you couldn't get a signal. So his problem was he was trying to communicate with my wife. See, here's what Deshaun never told anybody. He wanted my wife. He was after my wife. And she did not desire him, none whatsoever. I knew that. She knew it, but we didn't approach him about that. But we saw, we knew, but we just let it go. So each time we had to stop, I would say, Deshaun, what's the problem? Well, I've tried to contact Marina and she ain't responded. I said, well, I try to contact her too, and since I'm the one leading the convoy, when I try to contact her, sometimes she don't answer me. But I don't get all pissed off about it. I figure maybe they're too far back and they can't get a signal. But he got pissed off. He was pissed off because he wanted her to respond to him. Not me, her husband, but to him. I saw that, and I didn't bring it up. This happened 3 times on the road. Now, let me tell y'all this. When we left California, I had a meeting with everybody, and I told all the drivers, y'all, I know where I'm going. I need for everybody to stay in a tight group so that nobody get lost or out of pocket. Since y'all don't know where you're going, don't run off and leave me because I had a $40,000 Corvette on the back of the trailer. Deshaun was driving the U-Haul truck, putting the trailer with my $40,000 Corvette on. All right, so I want to keep an eye on my property. So I tell them, let's stay together. Oh, hi, Janine. Hello, how you doing? Good to be here. Good to see you. So I told everybody, let's stay together so that we don't get separated. Soon as we left California, we haven't even left the state yet. Him and Thaddeus took off. They took off like they know where they're going. They don't know where the hell they are, and they don't know where they're going. They took off. So I'm asking my wife, where the hell is Deshaun and Thaddeus? Thaddeus was driving Deshaun's car. Deshaun was driving the rental truck that I purchased and my trailer with my $40,000 Corvette on it, and they disappeared. So we're driving. We don't know where they are. So we don't know if we should keep driving and not realizing if we're putting more distance between us or are we not close enough to wherever they are. So we decide, let's pull over. Let's pull over. So we pull over into this gas station, and I try to call him. No answer. I try to call Thaddeus. No answer. So after about 2 hours of delay, I finally get a hold to, I don't remember if it was Thaddeus or Deshaun. And I said, where are you guys at? They were broke down. The trailer messed up. This is why I said stay together. But see, they did not adhere to my wisdom. They took it upon themselves, just like everything else that I'm going to show you later. They took it upon themselves. We're going to do what we want to do. Remember, they don't own nothing. Everything that's being transported except Deshaun's car, we own. But they decided to take this upon themselves. So they broke down, and we had no idea where they were. So here I am with a rental truck that I'm paying for, a trailer that I'm paying for, and a $40,000 car on the back of that trailer that Deshaun is pulling. And they're broke down somewhere, and we have no idea where. So now, Shalom, Tracy. Happy prep day. She got it right. Oh my God. So we have no idea where Deshaun and Thaddeus are. So I call U-Haul. And U-Haul says, well, we can track them, but we'll need a phone number on each one so we can call them, and then we can beam in on their signal, and then we'll know where they are. So I gave them the number, and then they called me back 30 minutes later, and they said, we're not getting any answers, so we can't track them. So we've been on the side of the road for almost 4 hours. Now this should have only taken 7 hours to drive from California to Arizona desert. It took us almost 18 hours because of this crap. But he went through hell. This is what he told everybody on his videos. I went through hell out there. But because nobody ever asked me for my side of the story, they just figured Deshaun must be telling the truth. Look how angry he is. Yeah. There's a lot Deshaun ain't telling you. There's some stuff that he told me that's very personal, very private. And I'm only going to give a little bit of the information because I want to try to keep some dignity. But when I first started talking to Deshaun, he had a masturbation problem. I helped him through that. At least that's what he said. I don't think that he overcame that problem. I think he's still dealing with it. But I could have used that. He was slinging my name all over YouTube. He was blaspheming and making stuff up on me. I could have used that. But not one time, you can't find one video where I ever exposed that. I kept that between me and him. But because nobody talked to me, none of you knew that. So I don't want to get deep into his personal details, but I just thought I'd put that out there. There was other personal stuff that he told me that I'm going to keep secret because I gave him my word. He broke his, so I felt like I owed him that. So anyway, we're on the road to Arizona, and now we're stuck. Finally, after about 4 or 5 hours, they were able to make a connection. U-Haul was able to make a connection with Deshaun. So they triangled the signal and figured out where they were. So then they called me and they gave me the directions. So we load back up. I'm driving an RV. This thing is sucking gas up big time. All right. And my wife is following behind me in the van. That's gas. So now we got to go back because we're too far ahead of them. So we did. We passed them up. So we had to go back. Now remember, we're 4 hours off now. 4 hours out of what should have been a 7-hour trip that turned into almost an 18-hour trip. We're going back toward California so that we can reconnect with two people that we told stay in a group. All right. So we find them. Now I have to wait for U-Haul to send out a new trailer, and I have to unload my car, disconnect the trailer, load my car onto the new trailer, hook the trailer back up, and get back on the road. That was another 2.5 hours. So now we're 6.5 hours out of place. Tracy Watkins, yeah. Let me give you the email. Okay, there's the email. Tracy, Janine says, sounds like when Moses was telling the Israelites what the Most High was instructing them to do in the desert and they rebelled. That's exactly what happened. They rebelled and perished. I believe that you. Okay. Okay, so Tracy, you got the email, right? I guess you did. She said things. Okay, so yeah, we lost like 6 hours in a 7 hour trip. All right, 6 hours out of a 7 hour trip. Okay, so let's see what else happened. Now remember, I told y'all that we had to stop 3 times because of Deshaun complaining about my wife. Okay, Tracy. Okay, we stopped 3 times because Deshaun was complaining that my wife is not responding to him. She didn't have to. You know, she didn't have to. Her obligation was to me, not him. But that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted. So he was showing himself without knowing that he was showing himself. But anyway, we finally made it to Arizona. I think it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So we'd been on the road all freaking night. If they had just done what I asked them to do, we would have been there by 5 o'clock that evening with daylight to spare so we could find our way to the land that we bought. All right? Now, keep this in mind. Me and my wife bought the land. There was nobody that chipped in to pay for the land. They were all offered the opportunity. We asked them and I'm glad they didn't because that would have been a much bigger problem. But we asked them, this is how much the land going to cost. Do y'all want to chip in equally and we all going to be owners of this land? And nobody stepped up. So me and my wife said, well, let's just go ahead and buy it. So we went ahead and we did it. So they didn't own nothing. The deed was in our name, not any of theirs. So now we are in Douglas, Arizona. We're still trying to figure out what hell did Deshaun Whitehead go through. Now, we get there. It's late. It's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We're all tired. All right. It's cold. This was in January. It's cold in that desert. So we had to bunker down, and I think I had everybody in my RV, me and my wife's RV, trying to accommodate. All right. That's not my responsibility. All right. But I was there. I was there. Me and my wife, we was there. So we crowded everybody up in the RV and we turned the heat on, kept everybody warm. You ain't kidding. Tracy says some of us Israelites are stiff-necked and rebellious to this day, just like we are described. You ain't kidding. I lived through it. I lived through it. But you know what? See, when Deshaun Whitehead left my camp, my land, he was the one that started doing these videos. And he was the one that spreaded all of these lies. And I thought, you know, when I first saw it, I thought, what? Are you serious? I didn't even know he was gone. The night that he left, let me tell y'all why he left. I'm skipping up now. I'm going to tell y'all why he left. We had a sister, Denise Dixon. Now, Denise was a pretty humble person. She tried to, although she didn't come the way she should have come, she was a humble person. Deshaun decided that they wanted breakfast that morning. Now, keep in mind, everything out there on that land, me and my wife owned. They didn't own none of it. All they had was tents, and the tents that they had was toys. That desert was not a place for toy tents. If you didn't have a $700 and up tent, you were in the wrong place. that tent was not going to make it. We saw that wind out there destroy some very rugged stuff. But that's what they came with. So we ended up letting them use our tents because we knew they're not going to make it. So keep this in mind. They were told, we are only offering you a spot of our land. That's it. We're not obligating ourselves to take care of you, feed you, provide you with transportation, and all of this other stuff. We're just offering you land for free. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to pay water bills, electric, and none of that. We're giving it to you for free. So they came out telling us we're prepared. We have everything we need. So what am I supposed to do? They're grown people. They said they have everything they need. So, okay, then come. They get there and we're like, oh my God. They don't know. This stuff ain't going to work. So every morning we got up and looked out of our RV out there at them. We couldn't help it. We both felt bad, man. You know, we sitting there looking at each other. I know we didn't say we would do this, but look, we got to do something. Are they going to freeze to death? So I went out and bought $1,000 worth of gas cans. That's just gas cans. I bought $1,000 worth of gas cans. I filled all of them up, and I believe it cost me 23 of them. It was over $2,000 in gas, and I had to make several trips. To fill these cans up with gas because I was using our van, and there wasn't no room for 23 5-gallon gas cans. So I had to make, oh God, I can't remember how many trips. It was a lot of trips. And it's like 8 miles one way into town and then 8 miles back. So that's 16 miles each trip, which is costing me more gas. And at that time, I only had, I think, 2 generators. And both of them failed. Both generators failed. But now they worked for a while. I think they worked for like 3 months, 2 or 3 months. And they were providing electricity for everybody's needs. But see, remember, I paid for the gas, over $2,000. I paid for the gas cans, that's about $2,000. And I paid for the generators. The first generator was $700, I think $700 and some change. And I bought another one just like it. It was $700 and some change. So we got 2 generators, $1,400. And I started realizing that that's not going to be enough. You know, we're going to need more. So I talked to my wife. She said, okay, go get what you need. So I went and bought 2 or 3 more generators. I bought one 10,000 watt and one, I believe it was 5,500 watt running watt. Anyway, there was 500, 600, almost $2,000 in those 3 generators. So now we got 5 generators, all right? And each one, I got to put the gas and I have to change the oil. So I got to buy oil. Every week, I have to change the oil because if you don't, the generators will lock up. They'll quit. Good morning, Shine Lighthouse. Hallelujah. So I have to not just put gas in these generators. I have to change the oil. So 6 generators at the time, taking, I think, 3 quarts each. Each gallon was $30, and I bought each each generator took 3 quarts. So that's 1 gallon is 4 quarts. And I would buy 6 gallons at a time so I would have enough oil. So all of the oil, just the oil alone was, I believe it was $192, something like that, almost $200. These things are what Deshaun didn't tell y'all. He never paid one dime. So now we're out here on the desert and we have no running water. Now, Deshaun did do this. We met a guy out there that had running water on his land, but we had to go over to his land and fill up 55-gallon drums that I bought, me and my wife. We bought 11 of them, and we had to take them over there and fill them up and bring them back and unload them. Now, Deshaun did that the first time. He only did it once. After that, I would just take the RV over there and just fill up the RV tank. And I called and had the water company to come out and dig us a hole. And they said that it will cost X amount of dollars and blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, Deshaun, can you and Thaddeus dig the hole? It's only got to be 3 feet deep. And he said, yeah, him and Thaddeus said, yeah. So I went and bought all the equipment, $500 for a driller thing and 2 pickaxes. And after spending all that money, they're sitting out there, crying, talking about, it's too hard, we can't do it. So I said, okay. So I tried to do it, and they were right. It was hard. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to have to find a backhoe operator and pay somebody to do this because we need fresh running water. We had